I'll tell you a little story about Wayfair. Some of y'all that have like cable TV and maybe they run ads for it on YouTube, but I ad block all sorts of shit on YouTube, so I tend not to expose myself to commercials very often. And when I do, I usually get mad because I've surrounded myself in a bubble where I'm so used to not being advertised to that when I am advertised to, I get mad. But I'm sure there's you may have seen commercials for a place called Wayfair.com. I'm not, calling them out specifically, but I am calling out like where they source their materials from, because Wayfair.com, they don't inventory anything. Shopping Wayfair.com is like, well, it's like ordering from AliExpress or Wish or Amazon or whatever the fuck else. Just because you order it from there doesn't mean it's coming from their warehouse. There could be a third party that sends out, something else. So, for a while, I worked in construction following Hurricane Harvey. That's no secret. I was one of the folks that was helping rebuild a lot of the homes that were either damaged or demolished. There was a lot of work to be done, so I was busy for quite some time. And at one of the job sites, we were going to hang some like big painted barn door shutters, and they hang on a track, and there's little wheel, like basically if this is the door, there's like little wheels on top of the door, and then those wheels hang into a little track. And I guess the best way to describe it is like the doors like a Walmart that just, like that, except they're just shutter doors that you move manually, and then the real doors are behind them, because that's just the dumb type of shit that rich people do. Like, what if you come in from the outside and the barn doors are closed? You can't, the door, whatever. Like I said, it's stupid, but my job was to hang the things, so we did that. And so Wayfair.com, the person who was in charge of the interior design of this home, the person that got to call all those shots, insisted on ordering the track for these doors were custom built, and the track was ordered from Wayfair.com. If you go through the expense of custom building the doors, you probably ought to just not spare the expense and find someone who works with like welding or something, who specializes in metalworks around town, and get them to build the track, and don't try to just have doors and then attach some prefab shit to the door. That tends to end badly, as I'm soon going to let you know. So essentially, we got this box, showed up at the job site, and it was from Wayfair, and we sliced it open with the razor blade, even though it told us not to, because nobody fucking cares. And when we opened it, there were all these parts. It looked like big shower rods, and the little caps you put on the end, and the wheels that would go on top of the door. I'm still using this as a metaphor for a door. There were parts in there. All the parts were in there. They seemed organized. They were in these little styrofoam things, and it looked nice. But when we looked at the packing sheet, it came from a company called like TNT, like not motorsports or something, but like it came from a company who specialized in selling automotive parts. We're like, bro, we're hanging a door. We're not replacing a carburetor. Why does this company sell this shit? Like, cause all these, it's just like, I feel like a lot of times when you're ordering stuff from China, it's like lowest bidder. Like, here's a company whose name implies they make car parts, but they also make parts for hanging shutter doors. Like, why? That's a really weird diversification of your assets. If you make automotive parts, why don't you make parts for industrial applications as well? Not home improvement, remodeling, whatever the I don't fucking know. But anyways, we got the box of parts, and they're all there. And we looked at the material sheet, and we counted what's in the box, because that's the first thing you do, because I've been fucked on that before. Everything's accounted for. So we're like, okay, let's get to work hanging the shutters. Let's put the shutters up. That's what we're here to do. It's going to be a job that's going to take maybe an hour and a half. And We'll go on to the next one. So, basically, the rod, the big metal crossbar thing, was in parts, but they linked together, and then you mounted them on the wall with these big-ass anchors that you had to put on. You could slide the anchors wherever you wanted on the bars, but they needed to be anchored into the studs of the wall, because otherwise you're hanging it on drywall, and it's just going to fucking rip it out, because it's too heavy when you put the doors on, okay? So you had to put the anchors in specific places, and the anchors already kind of looked a little off, because we were like, well, we have to go by the studs in the wall. That we don't get to pick that, so homeowners are going to have to just eat that one, whatever. So we start putting all this shit together. We get as far as hanging the rods. We've attached the wheels to the doors, right? We've done everything. All we have to do now is pick up the door and set it on the track. And we're done. Except when we set the door, when we lift up the door to set it on the track, the wheels don't go into the track. Because the bar is not hasn't been hung high enough on the wall. So the door is just leaning against, it's touching the floor. And we just lose our shit because we're like, oh my fucking god, did we fuck this up? If we fuck this up, this is all of our asses. You know, this is an expensive house. We just hung a bar. We put a dozen and a half goddamn screws in the wall. If we have to take this down and move this up, all that shit's got to be filled and sealed and repainted, and oh my, you know, all when you work in construction, that's all you see is everything that has to be done to fix the fuck up. And then the more I looked at the instructions, because I'm like, we did this right, we measured this this much. It says this many inches or whatever, and I'm looking at it, and it's driving me fucking crazy. And then I noticed, because it has measurements in empirical, aka American, and then it has measurements in metric, and I'm staring at these fucking instructions, and then something says, you know, where it talks about mounting the wheels or the hinge or whatever on the door. It says 1 inch, 44 millimeters. And I'm looking at that, I'm like, that's not correct. That's wrong. 1 inch is 22 millimeters. And then I started looking at all of the other measurements on the instructions and realized none of the conversions that this Chinese company did are correct. They are all wrong. Everything we just put together was wrong. Because we just looked at the information on the paper and nobody thought to fucking check their math. We checked the packing slip to check the parts because we've been fucked on that before. But now moving forward, not only do you check the packing slip to check the parts, now you gotta check all their fucking math too. Because I said everybody shut the fuck up. Stop freaking out. I figured out what the problem is. And I explained that what we're going to have to do is one of us is just going to have to, we're going to have to rework all these instructions because none of the measurements, these conversions are all wrong. And then, like, half the people were pissed off, and they're like, what the fuck, well, that's not our fucking problem. I'm like, no, it's not our fucking problem, but we're here to hang a door, so technically it is our problem. So I spent like 15 minutes, like, chicken scratching out all the fucking instructions, and I'm like, okay, this should be the measurements that we need. We have to take all these parts off and remeasure them, and we could probably just leave the wheels where they are because that doesn't seem to matter. But this bar, we need to move all the pieces of this bar. And we ended up moving the bar to measurements that were not done by an idiot. And when all was said and done, and we leaned the door onto the track bar, and we stepped back. It hung, it slid left and right, and we were just like, don't fuck with it. The wall looks like somebody came in here with a Tommy gun and tried to murder somebody. That can be fixed. Fixing that is not our job. We just need to report back to HQ. We still have the instructions. Don't throw that away. We need that. Because this is our only proof that we didn't come down here and fuck up this house. We need to keep these instructions to show the foreman that the shit you ordered was so jank that the instructions were literally incorrect. And tell them that moving forward, now we will check all of the math on everything you order from fucking China that you expect us to hang in a house. And that's my little that's why every time I hear Wayfair.com, I think of that, because the interior designer was just so bubbly. She was like, oh, I know, this is going to look fabulous. We'll order this and we'll hang the track there and it'll just come in. It's easy. I just tell them how long of a bar I need. It's easy. They make it for you and it comes in the mail and you just hang it on the wall and then you just put the doors on the track and you put it on there. And it was not easy at all, because the company you ordered from specialized in making car parts and sent us bad measurements, which got me thinking, like, whoever's driving a car with parts made by these people, fucking God help them, because their engine's bound to fucking fire a piston through the hood of the car, so something's gonna go wrong. They're gonna try to put something together in some pinion shaft, some gear's gonna be like, this was supposed to fit here, but it doesn't. So maybe we just, I don't know, maybe we're missing it. Somebody driving a car with parts from this company has died. Okay? That's the short of it. At least one person has. That's Chinese manufacturing for you. Okay? That's But I mean, like, okay, so Sheep is talking about he was recently looking at Wayfair for something, whatever. Like, if you're gonna buy, like, a rug, okay, like, that's fine. You're gonna buy, like, a area rug or something like that. Something, you know, or like a fucking picture print of a horse to hang on the wall. Like, whatever. That's fine. Just don't buy anything that requires, like, assembly. Because then you're risking it. I wouldn't even buy a bar stool from them, okay? Like, even that makes me anxious. I'm like, I don't know. After, you know, Just go down to, like, fucking Lowe's and get the bar stools they got there, okay? They might not look fabulous, but I guarantee they're not going to blow apart and the piece is going to go right up your ass, alright? But that's... You're looking for a floating shelf. Which is, okay, so, Goose, I bet a person died from a rug, too. He just steps on the fucking Wayfair Chinese rug. Just... Or maybe the rugs, maybe, you know, Goose, you might be onto something. Maybe the coating, the non-skid coating on the underside of the area rug is so bad that the rug does just bunch up. And it was like a case of like some little old lady who didn't have a life alert, and she snagged her foot on where the rug bunched up, and then that's it. Grandma went to sleep forever. So I know you just said somebody probably died from a rug too, but that is entirely possible. That is entirely plausible. So there's so basically, yeah. I don't trust them for anything more than like things that you don't put together.